What's up, fight fans? You know boxing is more than just a sport. It's a war, a battle of wills, and sometimes it's about surviving the most brutal beatdowns in history. We've all seen those crazy moments in the ring that leave us on the edge of our seats. But today, we're diving deep into the fights that were nothing short of savage. These are the boxers who took more than just punches. They took some of the worst beatings of their entire careers. From knockout kings to legendary warriors, they faced a level of pain and punishment that even the toughest of us can't imagine. In this video, we're going to look at 4 unforgettable fights where the beatdowns were so bad they left fans reeling. These aren't just any losses. These were brutal moments that left scars, both physical and mental, on the fighters. Get ready to relive the most intense and savage moments in boxing history. Let's jump right in. All right, let's start with a man who was once the scariest man on the planet. Mike Tyson. Tyson was untouchable until he wasn't. Fast forward to 2002, and the world was hyped for the showdown between Tyson and Lennox Lewis. Everyone knew that if Tyson could land one of those iconic bombs, it could be lights out. But Lewis, he was on a different level. Now, Mike Tyson wasn't the same man who tore through the heavyweight division in the 80s. Personal struggles, legal issues, and a drop in focus had taken their toll. Lennox Lewis? He was a giant, 6 feet 5 inches, with an Olympic gold medal and a boxing IQ that was off the charts. From the very first bell, Lewis was in control. He stood tall, used his jab like a sledgehammer, and completely neutralized Tyson's ferocity. Tyson tried to press forward, but it was like trying to run through a brick wall. Round after round, Tyson's face started swelling, and his punches had less and less power. By round 8, Tyson's corner should have seen the writing on the wall. A devastating right hand from Lewis dropped Tyson to the canvas, and that was it. Tyson barely got back up, and the referee counted him out. It was the beginning of the end for Tyson. He would never again reclaim the aura of fear he once commanded. That one event, the comeback of which is still being talked about by fans, acts as proof of the baddest man on the planet falling so hard. The defeat of Tyson on that particular evening was the beginning of a new era in his career. Previously renowned for his relentless aggression and powerful punch, he was now but a mere shadow of himself, finding it hard to follow the technical and theoretical Lewis. It was a real shock for the fans to see Tyson, who used to rule the ring with an iron hand, become a beaten man struggling, as he did, under a methodical and punishing beating from Lewis. More than an erasure from the list of records, it also represented one of the most humble moments, showing that even those who had the most power could still fall. Lennox Lewis's fight with Tyson was not just the loss of a title for Tyson, it was the loss of his invincibility, and that was a significant event in the eyes of the world. Now let's talk about a fight that changed the sport forever. The third meeting between Benny "Kid" Paret and Emil Griffith. This fight is one of the darkest chapters in boxing history, not just because of the brutality, but because of the tragic aftermath. The year was 1962, and this was the third time these two went at it for the world welterweight title. The first 2 battles had been fierce, but nothing could prepare anyone for what was about to unfold. Paret, the reigning champion, had been trash-talking Griffith in the build-up, calling him all sorts of insulting names, especially during the weigh-ins. Now remember, Emil Griffith was calm, composed, and deadly with his punches. But this time, there was something personal behind his punches. From the start of the fight, Griffith dominated. He was in control, landing sharp jabs and devastating combinations. But it was in the 12th round, where things went from brutal to horrifying. Griffith unleashed a flurry of punches that trapped Paret against the ropes. Left hook, right hand, left hook again. Paret's defenses were shattered, and it looked like he was barely standing on his feet. Griffith didn't stop. He kept going, landing punch after punch with ferocity. It was clear that the referee should have stepped in earlier, but Paret was allowed to take one last beating. The moment Griffith stopped was chilling. Paret was unconscious in the ring, barely breathing. He was rushed to the hospital, but sadly, Paret would never regain consciousness. 10 days later, he passed away. This fight still sends shockwaves through the boxing world, reminding everyone of the risks fighters take every time they step into the ring. Let's switch gears now and talk about Antonio Margarito, a guy who could take punches and keep coming. He was known for his tough-as-nails attitude and his insane endurance. But when he stepped into the ring with Manny Pacquiao in 2010, he met his match. Margarito was taller, heavier, and naturally the bigger man. But Pacquiao was on another level. Fast, explosive, and lightning quick, Pacquiao wasted no time. From the first round, Manny's speed was a problem for Margarito. He couldn't keep up. Pacquiao was everywhere, landing combination after combination, while Margarito looked like he couldn't even catch a breath. By the 11th round, Margarito's face was a mess. His eye was swollen shut, and the damage he had taken was unbearable. But despite all of that, Margarito kept trying to push forward, refusing to give up. The problem was, Pacquiao wasn't going to give him a chance to breathe. The fight was one-sided, with Pacquiao showing off his brilliance. In the end, Pacquiao won by unanimous decision. It wasn't just a win, it was a beatdown that fans will never forget. And Margarito? He never quite recovered after this fight. His body was physically battered, and his confidence was shattered. After this loss, his career was never the same, and he retired in 2017. But that night in 2010 was his defining moment. This next fight is one of the most iconic examples of a technical masterpiece in destruction. Arturo Gatti, a beloved warrior known for his heart and his brutal, brawling style, faced off against the man who would go on to become the greatest defensive boxer of all time, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Gatti was known for his wars in the ring, often going to the trenches with his opponents. But Floyd Mayweather? Floyd was a defensive genius, a master of the sweet science. The 2005 matchup seemed like the ultimate test for Mayweather. Could he handle Gatti's relentless pressure? We got our answer quickly. Mayweather had Gatti figured out from the get-go. Round after round, Floyd made Gatti look clumsy. He dodged, ducked, and landed clean counters. Gatti couldn't lay a finger on Mayweather. As the rounds went by, it looked like Gatti was lost in there, swinging at air while Mayweather danced circles around him. In the 6th round, Gatti's trainer, Buddy McGirt, stepped in and stopped the fight. It was a one-sided beating that left Gatti's fans heartbroken, but they all knew it was over. Mayweather had taken the tough, hard-nosed Gatti and turned him into a punching bag. It was a masterclass in boxing. Boxing isn't just about who lands the hardest punch. It's about who can survive the longest, who has the heart to keep going when things get brutal. The boxers we've talked about today, Mike Tyson, Benny Paret, Antonio Margarito, and Arturo Gatti, showed us that sometimes it's not about the glory or the titles. It's about enduring pain and persevering. They all took horrific beatings, and while some recovered, others never quite bounced back. But one thing is for sure, these fights will live on forever in the history of boxing. All right, fight fans, what do you think? Which one of these brutal beatings shocked you the most? Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Which fighter do you think deserves a second chance in the ring? Don't forget to turn on the bell for more incredible boxing stories coming your way. Catch you in the next round.